Welcome. In today's video I'm going to show you some ways that I've used these faux flower petals to create elements for journaling. Now I've been seeing these all over the place at craft stores, party supply stores, dollar stores, and even our thrift store. I got these ones from the thrift store. And they're kind of nice. So these are some of the things I've made. This one is either can be backed and made as like a bookmark, or it can be put on the edge of a page on a journal, sort of like that, kind of the way people use lace. I do not have an endless supply of vintage or regular lace, and so this is in a way my answer to that. I think it looks nice. Now this one I glued down, and when I put something heavy on top of it to make it stay, and the petals shifted a little bit. So on my second attempt, I stapled them and then glued only the last one on top. Now, my staples are kind of metallic pinkish purple, which is not ideal for white flowers. It kind of shows through there. Also, it's not done gluing yet. Let's see, some of the other ones that I've done are this button flower, and this is on a safety pin. It's the most plain one, so I'm probably not going to demonstrate it. It's basically the same as the button, only without the button and attached to a safety pin. And last but not least, my favorite is this. Whoops. This one. It's a little dangle charm. It can be added to more beads, or it can be attached to a paper clip or a safety pin, and used the way any dangle charm would be. Actually, I was also thinking that this could make cute earrings if I made matching ones. So without further ado, let's get started on some of these. I'll put some of each petal. Oops, there. All right, let's do the easiest one first. Just a little strip of scrap paper, and this leaf of petal is a little bit smaller than this one, so it looks less full. So for this one, I'm going to double them up. Oh, it's actually very pink. I'll put it at the end. So 2. And then staple. Actually. Like that. And then 2 more. And staple. Oops. All right, I'm going to continue that all the way down, and I'll be right back with you. All right, now you see I've stapled it all the way down, and for the last 2 petals, I'm going to use my permanent glue, and oops, you don't want to use too much because the glue does bleed through. So I'm doing them one at a time because they do both need to be attached. I want them to extend a little bit out from the bottom so that the rest of the cardboard underneath doesn't show. So, last two, and then stick the clamp, clamp on until it's dry. That'll be very cute. All right, next project. Let's do the flower. Now, I am using this very fat needle with a wide eye. I guess it's sort of like a yarn needle, except it is pointy on the top, not blunt. And I've made a knot at the end of my string, only a single length. I didn't double the string. It's just going to be single. And I'm using this lace yarn from the Daiso, the Japanese dollar and craft store. The other one that I did, this one I used embroidery floss, so that also works, but I wanted to use something thick and sturdy. So I've picked a button to use. Let's see, have I lost it already? Nope, there it is. Little button to go with these white petals. And the first thing I did was I'm going to have a double segment of petals for each hole in the button. So those two, and then I'm going to pass through one of these. And to secure it, I'm going to also pass back through the hole diagonally across. Quick side note, I've only attempted this with the 4-hole buttons. I'm sure it's possible to do it with 2-hole button, but I haven't attempted it yet, so no guarantees. And let's see. I'm putting this back through the original hole. Oops. And now I'm passing into the second hole. Oops. And I'm also adding 2 petals. I kind of lay them how I want them to be. I don't want them directly on top of each other. I want them sort of collated. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but staggered. See, that makes it look kind of full. And again, into the hole opposite of the one I just used. And back into the original hole. Really, it doesn't matter how or which hole you use, as long as you don't use the same hole too often, because if you're using a button with little holes like this one, if you pass through too many times, eventually the needle will not be able to go through anymore. So Adding 2 more. Bringing it up through. This 3rd hole. Oh, yeah, getting tight. And I think because it's going to be so tight, I'm just going to go directly into the next hole. It's not a science, it's an art, so it's okay to be a little bit off, I guess would be the way to say it. It doesn't have to be perfect. So, last 2 are placed. Push that through. And I think I can push through this hole one more time. So, actually, yeah, I'll do that. And last pass through to stabilize it. That one looks the most roomy. Let's see. And all right, there we go. Now I'm just going to tie this off in the back. Since they're a little bit loose and I need to create a way to make all right, come on. There. I'm going through all the layers. It's a little bit tough. Right now I'm just passing around this. And I'm going to go back in just underneath the button so it doesn't show. I mean, really, if you know how to sew a button, you can totally just sort of guesstimate how to do this. I definitely kind of made a mess of this technique. Ow, I poked myself. But really all I'm trying to do now is make a knot. And when the knot is made, this one can be finished. There. And there we go. It's a little bit off center, but that's okay. Not all flowers are symmetrical. Now for my favorite technique, which is this one. So when I did this, what I did was I got, it must have been like 8 petals all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's see, maybe 6 is enough. I think 6 is probably good. 2, 3. All together, stacked evenly, the same, with all the points together. Actually, that's the most important part, is having all the points together. And I forgot to make a knot. I have a knot. All right. Now, I'm going to pass through as far forward and ensuring that I get all of the petals in. See, there's one that didn't get in. Catch it now. Not so far forward that it'll slip out, but, you know, pretty far forward. And pull this through. Let's see if it's enough. I want to be able to make a cone and then spread the cone out. I think it'll work. Maybe I'll add a couple more for good measure. Okay, they're all even and together. And the next thing is to get a bead with a fairly large hole and pull it through. Actually, yeah. And pull it. Pull it in as far as you can. Maybe I overdid it this time. There we go. And then I twisted the petals around to make a little bud shape. See? All right. And for the next step, I'm going to pick a secondary bead. I think perhaps that one. Or not, might not. This bead and this needle do not agree, so I would do a different one. Yeah, that'll do. And a jump ring. I want one that's kind of already closed because I did not bring my pliers for this video. And I don't want anything slipping around. There you go. That one's shut. And what I'm going to do is maybe not wise, but I like to ensure that everything is double. Oh no, I pushed it out. All right. Maybe I won't do that this time. All right. So what I like to do sometimes is pass back through, but it looks like I'm going to push everything out in this case. So I will not be doing that. And I will simply, where's my jump ring? There it is. I will simply wrap my string around a couple of times. Oops. Did it really? All right, it's messing with me. Mm-hmm. All right, well, apparently I've knotted my string. Anyways, I can fix that still. All right. Now I'm going to knot that. And I'm going to the other side. So I created a knot on this side, and I'm going to create a knot on that side. And this extra piece of tangle I'm going to cut off after I've got all my knots in place. So if you create knots on both sides of where your string is attached to the jump ring, it'll make a much wider stretch of fabric so it won't fall out of the gap in the jump ring. And maybe, actually, I'll use this extra bit to tie another knot. Double it for good measure. Okay. You know what, never mind. It is knotted in. I'm going to cut that piece out. Sorry for that. If I could, I'd make a blooper reel for that. But at the moment, my ability to edit videos is slim to none. So what you see is what you get. All right, so one more knot on either side for good measure. And anyways, most likely if you craft with string, you know how to tie knots. But in this case, for this particular charm, the more knots, the better. All right, now I'm satisfied. And there it is. Little floral charm. And that's it. Ways to use the flower petals. Thank you so much for watching and bearing with me, and happy crafting.